Before America had freedom, it had taxes. Before there was a constitution, there were collectors. And before there was a government of the people, there was a government that demanded their gold. This is the story of how taxes built, broke, and rebuilt the United States, from rebellion to the IRS. In the mid-1700s, the American colonies were thriving. Trade, land, and opportunity stretched across the New World. But across the Atlantic, the British Empire was deep in debt. Wars are expensive, and someone had to pay for them. So Parliament passed a series of taxes: the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, and the Tea Act. Each one small on paper, but enormous in meaning. Because it wasn't just about the money, it was about control. No taxation without representation wasn't just a slogan. It was a battle cry. The colonists weren't rebelling against taxes. They were rebelling against being ruled. The American Revolution, at its core, was a tax revolt. From the Boston Tea Party to the Declaration of Independence, Americans demanded the right to decide how and why they were taxed. But here's the irony. Once the war was won, the Founding Fathers faced the same problem Britain had. How do you fund a nation? Under the Articles of Confederation, Congress had no power to tax. Each state was asked to contribute money voluntarily, and most didn't. The government couldn't pay soldiers, couldn't pay debts, and nearly collapsed. That failure led to the U.S. Constitution, where Article 1, Section 8 granted Congress the power to lay and collect taxes. Taxes, it turned out, weren't the enemy. They were the price of survival. But that didn't mean people liked them. In 1791, the new government passed a tax on whiskey to help pay off Revolutionary War debt. For farmers on the western frontier, it felt like betrayal. They rose up in protest, the Whiskey Rebellion, the first test of federal authority. And it was President George Washington himself who led troops to enforce the law. The message was clear. This time, the taxman was American. Through the 1800s, the country grew rapidly, and so did its expenses. Most of the government's money came from tariffs, taxes on imported goods. But every war brought new financial pressure. During the Civil War, the federal government introduced the first income tax in American history. It was supposed to be temporary, a way to pay for the war. But as the decades passed, temporary became necessary. When the Supreme Court struck down a federal income tax in 1895, Congress and the states responded by passing the 16th Amendment in 1913. For the first time, the United States government had permanent power to tax personal income. And everything changed. With that single amendment, the government's reach grew wider than ever before. Income taxes funded World War I, the New Deal, and World War II. They built highways, schools, and the modern military-industrial complex. Taxes became the engine of America's growth and the source of its greatest debates. Over time, the tax system became a mirror of the nation's values. In the early 20th century, the wealthy paid the most. In the 1980s, Ronald Reagan championed massive tax cuts in the name of freedom and prosperity. In the 21st century, the debate continues. How much should citizens pay, and what do they get in return? At its heart, taxation is about trust. Trust that government will use what it collects for the good of the people. But that trust has always been fragile. Every generation questions whether the deal is still fair. From the Boston Tea Party to the IRS, from the cry for liberty to the complexity of modern law, the story of American taxes isn't just about money. It's about power. It's about freedom. And it is about the constant tension between the individual and the state, a tug of war that has shaped this country since the very beginning. Because in the end, taxation isn't just a policy. It's the price we pay for the idea of America itself.